Earlier, Run is brought into the treatment room by Master Prasad and Phobin, where Mr. Amin and Master Freefin await them. Run begins to yell and beg to be set free, insisting he isn't insane. Mr. Amin explains that he's there to receive treatment for his illness, but Run refuses to accept this. Meanwhile, Maki and Tibet are in the forest, discussing whether they should follow the masters. Maki shares her brother Run's story, explaining how he vanished 6 years ago. She believes he might be confined somewhere in homeschool. As they debate, Master Phobin passes by, prompting Maki and Tibet to hide. Tibet advises that it's too risky to follow the masters at night, suggesting they wait for another chance. The next day, during Master Deluxe's chemistry class, students are assigned to work in pairs. Maki pairs with Tibet, Fleng with Penweng, Fuji with Jingjai, White with Nai, Hugo with Zhang, and Biu teams up with Mek and Mok. Later, Maki and Tibet, along with White and Nai, work on their assignments in the library. Tibet draws close to Maki to discuss Run, sparking White's curiosity about their closeness. White asks Nai if he thinks anything is going on between them, but Nai dismisses it, saying he doesn't meddle in others' personal matters. That night, Hugo is walking Jingjai back to her bed, and they flirt until Headmaster Yanni intervenes, ordering Hugo to return to the boys' dorm. The next day, Headmaster Yanni announces a new rule forbidding romantic relationships among students, sparking protests. Master Yanni stands firm, insisting on enforcing it. Later in the girls' dorm, Biu, Fuji, and Jingjai discuss the rule. Biu complains it's unfair to restrict their feelings, and Jingjai, in defiance, jokes about dating every boy in their class. Fuji gets annoyed, accusing Jingjai of being insensitive, and heads to bed. The following day, Tibet, Maki, Penweng, Fleng, White, Jingjai, and Fuji are working together in the common room. When Fuji asks Jingjai for a book, Jingjai ignores her, focused on watching Tibet. Fuji, frustrated, confronts Jingjai publicly. A fight breaks out, causing Penweng to panic while White and Tibet try to intervene. Master Deluxe arrives, warning them to stop or face punishment. Jingjai storms out, later finding solitude in the garden, reflecting on her troubled past, particularly her parents' separation due to infidelity. Hugo joins her, offering comfort as they discuss their lives. In the library, Nai and White work on their assignments when Biu arrives, asking for help, complaining that Mek and Mok aren't cooperating. Nai leaves to find a book, and Biu seizes the chance to ask White if she likes Nai. White denies it, and Biu confesses her own feelings for Nai. Later, Biu playfully asks Nai about his type, and he responds that he'd prefer someone like White. At night, Hugo and Jingjai are lying by the lake, cuddling as she shares her family history, and he recounts his brother Hunter's story. They're unaware that Master Phobin is watching from afar. Meanwhile, Master Freefin and Headmaster Yanni head into the forest, and Maki and Tibet attempt to follow. However, Penweng and Fleng appear, stopping them. They return inside, with Tibet assuring Maki they'll have another opportunity. In the middle of the night, Headmaster Yanni drags Jingjai out of the girls' dorm to where Master Phobin waits with Hugo. They're both taken to the punishment room, but manage to escape, stealing Master Fen's car keys and attempting to flee. They soon run out of gas and try to walk out of the forest, eventually encountering a police officer. Grateful, they get into his car, only to be driven back to homeschool, where they face punishment for their actions. A few days later, Mr. Amin visits Hugo and Jingjai in the detention room, asking if they've come to understand their wrongdoing. Based on their responses, he determines they still require further special treatment. Hugo and Jingjai plead with Mr. Amin to release them, but he dismisses their appeals and leaves. Mr. Gon then heads to the common room to announce that Hugo and Jingjai remain under punishment due to their previous actions. The students express their frustration, arguing that the punishment has gone on too long and is unfair. Mr. Amin responds to the complaints, stating that Hugo and Jingjai will only be released once they demonstrate a change in attitude. Later, Principal Amin summons Master Freefin to his office, instructing her to initiate the lizard game, when Master Freefin voices concerns that the students may not be ready. Mr. Amin assures her that this group is particularly sharp and directs her to proceed without delay. Master Freefin agrees. In the afternoon, all students are gathered in the backyard, where they find an old, keypad-less receiver phone. Master Freefin explains the game's rules. They have 3 days to identify the lizard, or they will face punishment. Each student is assigned an animal, and they must collaborate to uncover the lizard's identity. When students ask what will happen if they refuse to participate, Master Freefin warns that those who don't play will forfeit the letters they've sent to their families. Reluctantly, they all agree to participate, picking up the phone one by one to receive their assigned animal roles. Later, while sitting in the garden, Master Pratt arrives carrying stacks of books, handing one bundle to each student and assigning them homework to complete before their next class. Mech, however, is assigned double the work under the lizard's instructions. At lunchtime, everyone gathers to eat, but Fuji is ordered by the lizard to skip her meal. Furious, Fuji declares that the lizard should simply reveal themselves. Mech and Mach quickly turn on each other, accusing one another of being the lizard. Master Freefin then asks if these are their final answers, and when they confirm, she informs them they're both wrong. As punishment for their incorrect accusations, Mech and Mach are confined until the actual lizard is discovered. Master Phobin escorts the two away, still bickering, leaving the others in stunned silence. A short while later, White, Maki, Nai, and Tibet sit together, speculating on the lizard's identity. Master Deluxe arrives with further orders from the lizard for Maki and White, instructing them to clean the entire school. Tibet and Nai volunteer to help with the task. That night, Master Champ wakes Penwing and informs him that, per the lizard's orders, he must run laps around the field for 2 hours. Nai and Tibet are also summoned as punishment for breaking rules by helping Maki and White. Fling, given the same task, joins them on the field. The following day, the lizard's punishing directives continue, with Fuji again forced to skip a meal, while others complete various chores. In the afternoon, as the exhausted students gather in the common room, Fuji grows suspicious of Zhang and Biu, noticing they are never subjected to the lizard's penalties. Fuji then reveals Zhang's past to everyone, mentioning he burned down his father's factory, casting doubt on whether he can be trusted. Zhang responds, explaining he had reasons for his actions unrelated to the current situation. As tensions rise, Master Freefin appears, reminding them that the purpose of the game is to identify the lizard. That evening in the girls' dorm, Fuji tells the others she remains wary of Zhang. Biu disagrees, saying she doesn't believe Zhang is the lizard. Fuji counters by questioning why Biu is never punished either, to which Biu swears her innocence, claiming her assigned animal is a horse. The girls finally go to sleep. In the morning, the students receive orders to skip breakfast, except for Zhang and Biu. Fuji confidently asserts that one of them must be the lizard. However, Zhang and Biu both refuse to eat, stating that if no one else gets food, they won't either. Zhang and Biu are asked to sit outside, where Biu reveals the truth about her father to Zhang. Later, they head inside, only to be confronted by Maki and her group, who demand to know their assigned animals. That night, Maki, White, Nai, and Tibet sit outside discussing possible identities for the lizard. Suddenly, Maki realizes that Master Freefin might be the lizard, as all the orders originate from the masters, who closely monitor the students' every move. The next morning, they confront Master Freefin and confidently state their answer. Master Freefin confirms they are correct. Master Freefin instructs everyone to gather in the common room to receive their letters. Mech and Mach are released from detention just before she arrives, and Hugo and Jingjai appear as well, looking visibly different. To the students' shock, when Master Freefin reveals the letterbox, it's empty. No letters have arrived from their families. Meanwhile, in the principal's office, Mr. Deman instructs Master Champ to begin a new course for the students immediately. In the middle of the night, Hugo awakens and stares blankly at the wall. Tibet and Nai approach him, asking if something is wrong, but he ignores them and starts shouting. At the same time, Master Prasad informs Mr. Amin about Master Deluxe's sudden disappearance. Mr. Amin, furious, orders Master Prasad to find Master Deluxe immediately. Mr. Prasad leaves, and Mr. Amin visits Run's room, showing him a video of Ren in an attempt to help him recover. Elsewhere, Headmaster Yanni and Master Pratt search the forest for Master Deluxe. The next morning, Maki, White, Nai, and Tibet are sitting in the library, discussing Hyogo's unsettling behavior the previous night. Maki notes that Jingjai, though not sleepwalking, was acting strangely as well. Their conversation is interrupted by Penwang's panicked voice echoing from the distance. In the kitchen, Mech and Mach are locked in a heated argument over food. Maki and the others intervene to break up the fight. However, their confrontation is cut short when Master Champ summons all the students to the courtyard. There, Master Champ divides the students into two groups and explains that a representative from each team will fight, with the losing team forfeiting their meal. The first match is between Mech and Mach. They take their positions and begin. But when Mech knocks Mach out, he continues beating him. The students plead with Master Champ to stop the fight, but he does nothing. Mackie and White intervene, attempting to separate Mech and more, but Master Champ moves to restrain them. Tibet steps in to block Master Champ, but is shoved aside, prompting Nye to punch Master Champ in the face. As punishment for defying Master Champ, Mackie, White, Nye, and Tibet are sent to the detention room. However, they feel no regret, believing Master Champ's actions were cruel. During this time, Headmaster Yanni visits Run, telling him he must trust homeschool again or his sister Ren will be harmed. Back in the boys' dorm, the students discuss Mech and Moore's fight. Penwing points out that they shouldn't hold grudges, as both were simply following the master's orders. Meanwhile, Headmaster Yanni summons Mackie, White, Nye, and Tibet, taking them to a tree she calls the Tree of Remorse. She instructs them to sit there until they feel true remorse for their actions. In the common room, Master Champ hands the white team ingredients for lunch, instructing them not to share anything with the black team. Flang questions this rule, and Master Champ explains that they must compete for their next meal's ingredients. Jingjai remarks that although she was once forbidden from eating, now she has lost the desire to eat altogether. Later, the white team gathers in the library, exhausted and uncertain about how they will manage, as they lack the energy to continue fighting. In the next round, Penwing shares his stash of Quant with the rest of his team. Meanwhile, in the forest, Masters Prosat and Phobin continue their search for Master Deluxe, finding footprints that suggest she is not alone. That evening, Master Champ forces the students to compete for their next meal's ingredients. The first match is between Hugo and Jingjai, but Hugo lets Jingjai win, unwilling to hurt her. Next, Fuji and Zhang face off, with Fuji quickly winning by landing a low kick. Then, Flang and Biu are pitted against each other. As they struggle over the rope, Flang tearfully apologizes to Biu for past lies, and they both decide to drop the rope, resulting in a tie. Mech and Penwang, already in agreement, also drop the rope together, which infuriates Master Champ, who denies them food until Monday. The students accept, agreeing that starving is better than fighting each other. While this unfolds, Headmaster Yanni continues punishing Mackie and the others at the Remorse Tree. Mackie asks if they'll get food, but Yanni says they must first recognize their mistakes. The group insists they did nothing wrong. Suddenly, they hear Master Deluxe scream from the forest. Disregarding Yanni's orders to stay put, the students rush into the forest and find Master Deluxe cowering against a tree. When they ask what happened, she fearfully replies that Run is back at homeschool. The students try to question Master Deluxe, but she doesn't recall anything that happened. As they tend to her wounds, Masters Prosat and Phobin arrive, soon joined by Headmaster Yanni, who orders Phobin to escort the students back to homeschool. Yanni then takes Master Deluxe to the treatment room with Prosat's help. The next day, Mackie and her friends question Master Deluxe, but she still remembers nothing. Mackie wonders if her condition is similar to Hugo and Jingjai's. Just then, Prosat arrives and secretly gathers the group to join the other students in a meeting about escaping homeschool. Mackie hesitates, preferring to stay, but the others persuade her to help. They decide to steal Master Phobin's minibus at night, planning to divert the Master's attention and sneak out. As they discuss, something triggers Jingjai, and she begins staring blankly, then suddenly screams and faints. They rush her to the infirmary, where Master Freefen treats her. Mackie suggests they postpone the escape plan, but Hugo insists they proceed as planned, adding that if they fail, they should burn homeschool down. That night, the Masters gather in Mr. Ammon's room when Flang bursts in, yelling about a fire in the lounge. Moments later, Biu arrives, reporting fires in the kitchen and garden as well. The Masters scramble to extinguish the flames, giving the students a chance to escape. However, Mr. Amin catches them, but, to their surprise, offers to send them home himself. The students, shocked but overjoyed, agree. Master Phobin hands them sleep-inducing cookies, which everyone except Mackie accepts as she decides to stay, having no one waiting for her. Mr. Amin visits Run and informs him that all the students have gone home, except for one Mackie. Run realizes Mackie has chosen to stay. The next day, the other students return home to their families. Meanwhile, back at homeschool, Master Prosat tells Mackie that sending the students home was part of homeschool's curriculum all along. When the students return home, They are stunned by the drastic changes that have occurred in their lives since they left for homeschool. Mek and Mok discover that their parents have divorced. White learns that his aunt sold their family home. Fuji and Zhang both face disappointment from their fathers, while Penwing's mother urges him to return to homeschool, saying his life there, though harsh, is preferable to being with his father. Fleng's mother and Bayu's father also want them to go back. However, Tibet finds that his mother has passed away, and he mourns her in solitude. While Tibet stands grieving, Master Amin arrives and reveals that Tibet's father was also a teacher at homeschool. Master Amin promises to honor Tibet's mother's wishes by taking care of him. Meanwhile, Master Frifin speaks to Run about Tibet, mentioning that Amin sees Tibet as suitable to carry on Master Fut's project. Run, however, has lost faith in homeschool's project, feeling disillusioned after Master Fut's death. Master Amin has a deep conversation with Tibet about his past and mother, telling him that if he truly wants to understand his past, he must return to homeschool. Tibet agrees to go back. At homeschool, Master Deluxe patrols the building at night with Maki quietly following. Master Prasad approaches Deluxe, checks on her well-being, and reminds her to take her medicine. Noticing Maki, he tells her to come out, then escorts her back to her dorm. Maki questions Prasad about what the masters are hiding, but he enigmatically says he's waiting for her to discover it herself. The students who briefly went home gather with Mr. Amin by the bus, waiting for Nai to return. Once Nai arrives, they all board the bus and head back to homeschool. The following morning, Mr. Amin gathers all the students in the common room and finally reveals the purpose of homeschool's rigorous methods. He tells them that he is preparing them for a world far harsher than homeschool's discipline. Later, Maki and her friends sit by the fountain, discussing their personal troubles. Tibet talks about his father, and Maki shares about her brother. Suddenly, there's a noise in the bushes. It's Fleng and Penwing, who overheard everything but promised to keep their secrets. Penwing mentions a videotape of Run stored in the library and takes them there. He pulls out a children's storybook that contains the tape. As Maki sees it, she feels an eerie sense of fear, as if it awakens a past trauma. Meanwhile, all the masters gather in the forest for a mysterious ritual. Master Amin announces that homeschool's most crucial curriculum phase is about to begin and emphasizes the need for their commitment. Master Prasad accuses one of the masters of being a mole, someone working against their success, and suggests it might be Master Deluxe, citing the mysterious footprints found beside hers in the forest. Back in the library, the students watch the videotape on a small TV. It shows Run talking with Master Fit about a recurring nightmare he wants to escape. Watching this, Maki realizes there are gaps in her memory, confirming her suspicion that something happened to her she can't remember. Nai, standing guard, notices the masters returning, and they quickly hide the tape and return to their dorms. The next morning, Maki has a nightmare about her past and wakes up in a panic, with White comforting her. They join the others at breakfast, where a feast awaits. Master Phobin arrives and announces that students can now choose which classes to attend. Mok and Hugo select Master Prasad's class, while Biu, Fuji, and Jingjai opt for Headmaster Yanni's. Tibet, Nai, White, and Maki decide to attend Master Frifin's classes, each student setting out on their chosen path at homeschool. Meanwhile, Mek and Zhang go to Master Champ, while Penwing and Fun visit Master Deluxe. Each master shares their story of how they became a teacher at homeschool, imparting essential life lessons to their students and exposing them to the world's realities. Maki asks Master Frifin for help to forget a haunting nightmare, and Master Frifin agrees to assist, beginning a treatment. It's revealed that Maki was abused by her stepfather at a young age, and Mr. Amin erased her memories to help her heal. Later, Maki approaches Mr. Amin with questions about her past. He answers most of them, but when she inquires about Run's whereabouts, he tells her she get her answers in due time. Maki then sits outside, reflecting on her treatment. In the treatment room, Master Amin first gave her a cupcake, then hypnotized her to erase painful memories. While she sits lost in thought, Tibet joins her, and they talk about the adult secrecy and how frustrating it is. Maki asserts that she won't live in ignorance and will uncover the truth, bringing them closer as they hold hands. The next morning, the students are doing their daily exercise. Nai and Tibet take a break from running to catch their breath. Nai remarks that the girls are behind, otherwise, White would tease him about tiring out. Tibet asks if he likes White, and Nai admits he does, but hasn't told her yet. Nai then asks Tibet about him and Maki. Tibet replies that though he likes her, Maki doesn't seem interested in romance. Later in the girls' dorm, Jingjai arrives with a bouquet of flowers. Bill asks who gave them to her, and she replies that Hugo did. The girls tease each other about their crushes and laugh, but they stop when Headmaster Yanni enters. They stand respectfully as Headmaster Yanni hands Maki a booklet announcing changes in the class schedule. The girls check their new schedules. In the courtyard, Master Friefin's class is in session, with Maki, Tibet, Nai, and White in attendance. Master Friefin gives each a cupcake they must eat for the treatment to begin. Though hesitant, they eat the cupcakes as instructed. In Master Pratt's class, Hugo and Mock have brought items that mean a lot to them, as instructed. Hugo brings a bracelet, his brother's last gift to him, while Mock brings a family photo. Master Pratt throws their items onto a pile of sticks and sets them on fire, explaining that by doing so, they've released their biggest weaknesses, aiming to make them as strong as himself. Meanwhile, Fleng and Penwing are in Master Deluxe's class, who helps them process past traumas through music. They share their insecurities and support each other, building confidence. In Headmaster Yanni's class, Biu, Fuji, and Jingjai discuss self-respect and self-preservation as women, which Headmaster Yanni emphasizes as vital lessons. All masters are connecting well with the students, who are learning quickly. On the other side, Master Phobin goes to bring lunch to Run. Seeing him instead of Master Friefin, Run asks why he's there. Master Phobin explains that since the treatment for the Gen 6 students started, the other masters were busy. Run asks Master Phobin to stay for a chat, but he declines, saying Master Amin forbade him. Run then uses a hypnotic technique to stir up Master Phobin's past traumas, causing him to hide under a table. Run attempts to escape, but Master Amin arrives in time to stop him. Meanwhile, White, Maki, Nai, and Tibet suddenly find themselves on the hill of the Remorse Tree, with Master Friefin nearby. They ask her what happened, and she explains they were put into a trance by the cupcakes they had eaten earlier. In Master Pratt's class, the students are given jelly as a reward for their obedience, which they happily eat before returning to their dorms. Master Friefin is seen sitting with Master Deluxe, and they discuss that night in the forest. Master Friefin asks Master Deluxe if she remembers who accompanied her, and Master Deluxe replies that it was Master Friefin herself. Around midnight, Headmaster Yanni leads 3 girls who ate the jellies into the forest, where all the masters have gathered. Master Amin selects Fuji as the first to undergo the cure and takes her to the treatment room. There, Master Amin uses brainwashing techniques on Fuji, planting a desire for revenge against her father. The next morning, Master Friefin is at her desk, smoking a cigarette, when Headmaster Yanni arrives. She reprimands Master Friefin for smoking indoors, and Master Friefin apologizes, explaining that she's been under stress. She expresses concern that the students aren't ready for such severe treatment, and that Master Amin's methods have changed. Headmaster Yanni acknowledges her worries, but insists they must trust Mr. Bond for the future of their society. Later that night, Master Friefin meets with Run and asks if he knows of a way to stop Mr. Amin. Run replies that he does, and Master Friefin agrees to help him escape from homeschool. So guys, if you want to watch next part, then drop comment in the comment box and watch another cool videos. And lastly, don't forget to subscribe. Goodbye.